Hello. This is for reading number 12, which is honestly my favorite reading out of all the readings. And no, not because it's not actual reading, but actually, yeah, that is because I love watching movies. Movies are awesome, and I love movies. And I love that this one is about LA. And the two films that we were supposed to watch for this assignment were Chinatown, the 1974 classic film by Roman Polanski. As we all know, he's not a great guy, but that's beside the point. That's a great film, like a classic, essential screenwriting film for everyone who's studying film. And then there is the nostalgic for me personally, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, my very first female crush. I think I was 4 or 5, and can't remember. Jessica Rabbit, is that her name? Ooh, I was in love with her when I was little. But that's beside the point. So these two movies, it was a pleasure to watch them again for this assignment because I absolutely adored them. And I watched Who Framed Roger Rabbit when I was little countless times, and I saw Chinatown when I was younger, but I didn't quite understand what was going on in it. All I could remember is the famous nose scene when they cut to Jack Nicholson's nose. But I rewatched them both, and I was blown away by how interesting it was and how I actually learned from both of them, which I never did before. I never quite paid attention. So there's a bunch of questions brought up in the readings that I kind of wanted to answer because, like, watching the films, they pretty much give you the answer. So as we know, our school is in Long Beach, which is in Los Angeles, technically located in Los Angeles. And both of these films are about Los Angeles and take place in Los Angeles, but at different kind of eras, and they're both detective stories, as you mentioned. Chinatown is about this private detective, and he investigates like this water kind of scandal thing. And pretty much what that movie's about is how, at the time in LA, the 1930s and the 1940s, we were getting our water from agricultural places throughout the states, like in Northern California and other areas, because we had no water here because it was all desert and it was just dry and there was no water, and we brought the water. But the main thing in Chinatown was the private detective is pretty much hired as to he's like hired to figure out, and he starts to discover why they're bringing the water and how the dude who's bringing all the water into the town is ruthless. Like, he's an entrepreneur, millionaire, and he's ruthless, and he'll do anything, no matter what, to protect that water getting here so he can, be rich and whatever. And so that's why we have like the Los Angeles River and all these different kind of water things. It's all because it comes from up north and stuff like that. Great movie, great movie. So Roger Rabbit is about the transit system, and growing up, I always wondered why San Francisco and New York and Chicago, they have transit systems, and especially since San Francisco is just up, 300-400 miles away. And in the film, they pretty much essentially described that the reason there's no more transit cars because Los Angeles at one time did have a transit system. There were trolley cars that went through the downtown. There were some that went straight to the beach and connected right to Long Beach, which is awesome. I think that's so cool, and I so wish we still had that. But they tore them all down, and they left a handful. They left a handful of just the train cars, not the actual tracks. And they built the freeways, like the 10 freeway and the 101. They totally cleared all that area just to build freeways. So essentially, both these movies pretty much have to do with people doing anything, no matter what, in any moment, just to make themselves richer, regardless of the consequences on the rest of the population in Los Angeles. And I think they're both great films, and I think it's kind of essential, like you said, anyone who lives in Los Angeles or has an interest in Los Angeles or who just goes to school in Los Angeles, they should definitely take a look at these films if they have an interest in those things. um, so yeah, so this was my favorite reading, and I think it was one of the most interesting. But yes, Chinatown. What does he say? What's that line he says there? He's like, "It's okay, Jake. It's Chinatown." That's what he says, right? Yeah, great movies. Watch them if you haven't. You have, but anyone who watches this video, you should watch them. Bye.